Hi everybody, this is Joshua Kirk back with you guys once again on YouTube. And now it's time for episode 48 of Album of the Day. And I know I normally do reviews in the morning, but I just got so inspired by what I'm going to review today that I just felt like doing it this afternoon. And as you may know, like if you live in New England or Boston or like Maryland, wherever you are, you may know that there's like a crappy, snowstorm going on outside. So I'm probably going to be snowed in for a couple of days. Because, it's just, snowing like heck out there. But anyway, aside from that, let's get on to the review. Today's artist is a band that, someone commented on my recent review of Radiohead that they would like to see me review this, so I'm going to review it for all you fans out there, this next band. So today I'm here to talk about the Seattle indie rock band Modest Mouse. So all you Modest Mouse fans, get excited because, I'm going to review them. So I'm here to review their, what do you think about it? What number of album is this in their studio album discography? This is their, this is their fourth studio album, released in the spring of 2004. The album is called Good News for People Who Love Bad News. And as you can see, this is, once again, a vinyl. I don't have this on CD, I just have the vinyl, but this is a great album, so, I wanted to review it because it's been one of my favorite records to play lately. As you can see, there's a cover art. It's really cool artwork. In fact, I've even drawn my own rendition of this cover art. This is so cool. But anyway, here's the front. There's the spine and the back of the album, which has more really cool artwork on this. And it's on 2 vinyls and has a lot of songs on there. 16 on this album and a bonus track on this vinyl. So side 1 contains Horn Intro, The World at Large, Float On, Ocean Breathe Salty. That's it for side 1. For side 2, it includes Dig Your Grave, Bury Me With It, Dance Hall, Bukowski, and This Devil's Workday. Side 3 contains The View, Satin in a Coffin, Interlude, Milo, and Blame It on the Tetons. And side 4 contains Black Cadillacs, One Chance, The Good Times Are Killing Me, and the bonus track, I've Got It All, Most. And this is on Epic Records, pretty much Modest Mouse's 3rd release on Epic, following The Moon in Antarctica, which came out in 2000, and their EP, Everywhere in His Nasty Parlor Tricks, which came out in late 2001, which had songs from the same sessions, and from the Night on the Sun EP. So let me show you the packaging of this. Really cool packaging that this is on. There's artwork. There's a photo of a gas mask on there. And then, really cool, this is the lyrics, which it's always the coolest when vinyls have this big thing with lyrics and stuff like that, like this poster type thing. And then you can get out. This is side 1 or side A, and that's side B. And the band won 2 Grammy nominations for this album. The first time the band had ever won a Grammy, which I think is huge for these guys, especially considering that this album got like huge acclaim and sold like maybe about hundreds of thousands of copies when it was out or something. And then there's more cool artwork on there. Those look like balloons on there, which kind of makes sense because there's a weird balloon like on one of the photos in this album. Then there's side C and side D. So that's packaging for good news for people who love bad news. I'm going to talk about the tracks on here. The first track on here is a horn intro, which is a perfect way to open this record because it's like the opening credits for a movie pretty much. Like I'm picturing like this red curtain and Modest Mouse Presents and then good news for people who love bad news. That's what I picture when I hear this intro, so I think it's a perfect way to open this record. And it leads into the beautiful track, The World at Large, which has like just, you know, a really like a beautiful little jubilee of instruments. And a different thing that I'm going to do in this review is that I'm going to mention who played what on each song since it's in the liner notes. Like on the horn intro, the horns on there were played by the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. On The World at Large, Isaac Brock, the lead singer, sang and played Rhodes piano, acoustic piano, and did a whistle thing, which I don't know if it's a human whistle or an actual like tin whistle or something. Eric Judy played acoustic guitar. Dan Gallucci played guitar, mellotron, and timpani, and Eric and Dan both played percussion, and Benjamin Weichel played drums on it. So it's like this amazing. So it's like a beautifully done jubilee of keyboards and guitar and percussion and I think I heard a tin whistle. And then there's like some mellotron and some timpani towards the end as well. So it's like a really like just beautiful song that really does tell you that these are very complex recordings going on in this album. So like The World at Large is definitely one of the standout tracks in my opinion. And then it plays into the song Float On, which is the lead single off the album. And on that song, Isaac sang and played guitar. Gallucci, Dan played guitar, and also added some drum loops on there too. Eric played the bass and mellotron, and both Eric and Dan sang backup vocals, and Benjamin played drums. And it's definitely one of the more optimistic Modest Mouse songs, you know, a lot of Modest Mouse songs are about like some crappy shenanigans going on with the world in terms of like shopping malls and you know, trailer parks and things like that. And that's a lot of stuff that like kind of bothers Isaac Brock and like his mind. So one of the things that I love about Isaac Brock is that he's one guy who's really good at writing some rather honest lyrics in his songs. So that's one of the things that makes Modest Mouse, you know, such a moving listen, because the lyrics are so like intriguing and like engaging to listen to pretty much because of how honest he is. And Float On is like a little more hopeful than most Modest Mouse songs. I mean, it's kind of a song about how even if things get heavy, even if things get a little negative along the way, you're gonna, you know, float on and everything's gonna be okay. So it's like a song that really has such a positive message that you could just tell yourself when you're feeling down. And it has a really interesting music video too. It's the video is set in like a sheep slaughterhouse, and there's the four members of the band playing in there, and it's a really interesting video. The video kind of makes sense because, like, in the video with Modest Mouse singing the song, they seem to be like telling the sheep that even if they die, they'll float on. Track number 4 is called Ocean Breathe Salty, and on that song, Isaac sang, and Eric and Isaac both played, Dan and Isaac both played guitar. Eric played bass. Dan also added some like organ and stuff like that, like, keyboards to it. And you also hear like some spacey keyboard sounds on there. And Ben played drums. It's another like cool song, like a really cool organ line on that song. And then just, just some really cool riffs from Isaac Brock on there. Because, like, Isaac's not only a great lyricist and a great singer, but also, like, he's an amazing guitar player. I mean, I dig that riff that he does on the fan favorite Dramamine off of their first album. And then he also does, like, some really cool riffs on Lonesome Crowded West, too, which came out in '97, the band's second album. So, like, Isaac's just a great guitar player, so the riffs that he does on Ocean Breathe Salty are just, awesome. Like that awesome signature Modest Mouse riff that we know. And, like, a really cool organ line, too, on there. And it's really interesting how he's, like, singing pretty in the verses, and then he's, like, yelling in the chorus. So that's really cool how he has that little change of vocal right there on the song. Track number 5 is called Dig Your Grave, and it's basically just an interlude with Isaac obviously whispering something and playing this like way out of tune ukulele on there. So like it's pretty simple. It's just 13 seconds basically. Isaac added vocals, which is basically him like whispering something. Don't know what it is though. And Isaac also played some ukulele on that song, which is like way out of tune on there. So it's really kind of creepy sounding on there. And then there's the 6th track, Bury Me With It, which is one of my favorites on the album. And on that song, Isaac sang and played guitar, and Dan played guitar too. And Dan played guitar. Eric played bass. Dan also played some keyboards and did some drum looping. And Ben played drums on it. And some additional drums are provided by the drummers from the Rising Star Fife and Drum Band. And Bury Me With It's just a cool song. One of my favorite songs on the record. It's the ones, Bury Me With It's the one song on the record that, truly does, stand alone, in my opinion. The vocals on it are just amazing. I just love to hear Isaac, yell on... I just love to hear, Isaac's yelling on that song. It's just really cool to hear, Isaac Brock, yell and kind of change his vocal range. Sometimes Isaac will sing pretty, and then other times he'll just yell into the microphone. And this is one song where he totally sounds incredible yelling into the microphone on here, because it really does add the emotion to it. I really do think his vocal range really does add to the different emotions Isaac has in his songs. Track number 7 is called Dance Hall, and once again, Isaac Brock, you can hear him yelling into the microphone, adding some emotion to it. Modest Mouse songs are the kind of songs that would be tough to sing yourself. These are songs that are would be tough to cover because, you know, I mean, you can try to imitate Isaac's yelling, but I guarantee you it won't be as good as the real thing. So Modest Mouse is one of those bands that you kind of have to avoid covering because there's just so much beauty in the originals that there's no need for you to be doing a cover of any of these songs. And dancehall has a lot of emotion in the vocal. It's like the vocals on that song are basically just Isaac yelling, and on that song, Isaac sang, and Isaac and Dan both played guitar. Eric played bass, and Dan also played piano, glockenspiel, and keyboards, which his glockenspiel, like the ring of that glockenspiel on Dancehall, just sounds right at home on there. Just doesn't seem out of place. Seems right in like that ringing like guitar solo in the middle of it. And Ben played his usual drums. The 8th track on here is called Bukowski, and on that song, Isaac sang and played banjo. Eric played acoustic guitar. Dan played guitar. Ben played drums. Tom Peloso from the Hack and Saw Boys plays stand-up bass on that song, and Dennis Herring, who is the producer of the album, played accordion. Like Dennis Herring, the producer of the album, played accordion on it, which sounds right at home on there. And it's kind of a song, kind of, you know, with Eric kind of, you know, with Isaac kind of asking himself like some questions like, you know, God, who'd want to be like a control freak or something like that. And like, you know, and it's the perfect combination of him singing these rather melodic notes, and then there's another track of Isaac like yelling into the microphone. Like there's one point in the song where Isaac's like yelling, "Sacrifice the liver," on there. So like his yell just sounds so nice in there. In fact, on the early Modest Mouse recordings, they would like put Isaac's like vocal mic into the bathroom, so he's like recording some of his yelling in like the bathroom because it's like the perfect like echo for it, and by, you know, putting the mic in the bathroom and recording it in there. So that's pretty cool. Track number 9 is called This Devil's Workday, and on that song, the only member of Modest Mouse on that song is Isaac, and he just sang and played banjo. And there are some horns on that song provided by the Dirty Dozen Brass Band. And the fun fact about that one is that the horn intro that's on the beginning of the album comes right from that song, so that's also the horn intro for that song too. And you can hear like Isaac like laughing in the background like during the horn intro. That's pretty entertaining. And the lyrics on here are pretty dark and, you know, disturbing because they're like about like, you know, death mostly. Like a lot of the songs on here are kind of about like, you know, death and stuff like that. So the lyrics in here are rather, you know, brutal and dark, but you know, they work with the general aesthetic of the album. And then you could chorus, and then at the end of, and like Isaac's vocals are like distorted, and at the end of the song, you can hear him just doing this like evil laugh at the end, which is like pretty humorous to listen to. Track number 10 is called The View, and this song has kind of a power pop feel to it because, you know, the feel of the drums, and then like, you know, and then like the screeching keyboards on there. Like you can hear this synthesizer, like, you know, kind of playing these notes of like do 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 that are like, you know, kind of distorted. You know, the keyboard lines and the drums both just sound cool in there. And on that song, Isaac and Dan both played guitar. Isaac sang and also played Hendrix 3000. Eric played bass. Dan also played some keyboards and Mellotron on there. And Ben did drums, of course. Track number 11 is the fan favorite, Satin in a Coffin, which is a good little, like, foot stomper driven by this cool banjo riff, which, of course, Isaac sang and played banjo on that song. Eric played pump organ, which sounds just awesome and right at home on that song. Eric played pump organ. Dan played guitar. Ben played drums. And Tom Peloso, once again, plays stand-up bass on that song. That's another song pretty cryptic about death and, like, hoping someone is dead or, you know, something like that. So it's like one good song about, like, wishing someone were dead more than alive. The 12th track is another interlude. In this case, it's called Interlude Milo. And it has Eric on pump organ, Dan on guitar, Milo Chaska Judy, who is Eric Judy's like newborn daughter at the time, provided vocals to it, which is basically her making strange little, like, you know, babbling noises on there. And then Tom from the Hack and Saw Boys played upright bass on it, or stand-up bass, as it says in the liner notes. But you know, this interlude's really just beautiful, and it's like really, like, you know, cute too. I mean, it's like on the more playful side, and then with Milo's daughter, like, you know, on there, you know, it's like, you know. And with Eric's daughter on there, Milo on there, it's like just really cute and, you know, heartwarming to listen to. The 13th track on here is called Blame It on the Tetons, and this is more kind of a slower, kind of more kind of sadder song, I guess, which features Isaac singing and playing guitar, Eric playing bass, Dan on piano, which, you know, there's a lot of piano on the album, which is particularly played by Dan. Ben on drums, and then Tom from the Hack and Saw Boys plays fiddle on there, which really does sound, you know, nice in there, in my opinion. And track 14 is called Black Cadillacs, and on that song, Isaac sang, and him and Dan both played guitars. And also in the liner notes for Isaac Brock, there's this thing called Freak Beak. I'm not sure what that means. It's probably some guitar riff or a keyboard or something, or a sound effect or something. But just when I'm listening to the recording, I'm like, I have no idea what a Freak Beak is. Eric played bass, like he usually does. Dan played piano, which, you know, the piano sounds really cool on there. And Ben did his usual drumming on there. The 15th song is One Chance, which is a pretty simple, kind of straightforward guitar rock song, which features Isaac and Dan on guitars, Isaac singing, Eric on bass, and Ben doing his usual stuff. I've mentioned a ton of times that Ben plays drums on this album, so I'm not going to mention it anymore. And the closing track on the album is The Good Times Are Killing Me. And on that song, Isaac sang and played baritone guitar. Judy played acoustic guitar and tin whistle. And Dan played pump organ. And Ben didn't play drums on that song. The drums on there were provided by drummers from the Rising Star Fife and Drum Band. And Eric and Dan both sang backup on there, which backup vocals are pretty rare in a Modest Mouse song, especially considering that Isaac's vocals just stand alone in my opinion, but some backup vocals here and there is fine though. But I just really love Isaac's voice when it stands alone. And there's some additional instrumentation on The Good Times Are Killing Me provided by the Flaming Lips. And that song is another one of the best, like, lyrical songs on the album. It's, like, very honest. And it's a song about, like, Isaac regretting his times when he had, like, drug addictions and stuff like that. So it's kind of a song about how when you have a drug addiction in your early life, you end up regretting it. So, like, Isaac kind of regrets his drug use back then, so it really does kind of show in the song, which is sort of a song about just, taking things back and, just, praying that it won't happen to you anymore. And then it has the bonus track, I've Got It All, Most, which is on, like, the Float On single, and it's like a bonus track on this vinyl. On that song, Isaac sang, played guitar and piano. So the final track on the vinyl of this album is I've Got It All, Most, which is like a bonus track on this vinyl. And it's like on the Float On single. And on that song, Isaac sang and played guitar and piano. Eric played bass. Dan played guitar. And Ben played his usual drums. And, like, this album, like, overall is just, like a fantastic album with truly a lot of tracks that really stand out. I mean, this album, like, just sticks out like a beautifully sore thumb, in my opinion. And it sounds great on vinyl. Like, it sounds okay on, like, CD quality, but, like, on the vinyl, man, it's like no other format you can get. So I'm gonna give this album, like, a 9 out of 10, because, like, the songs, like, flow really nicely on the album, so it, like, kind of plays into each other, like, perfectly on here. And there's, like, a wide variety of instruments, like, there's banjo, organ, upright bass, pump organ, and things like that. So I'm really impressed with the jubilee of instruments on this album. So a 9 out of 10 for this album is definitely there. And the lyrics are just, amazing, and Isaac's vocals, just like always, incredible how they go into different ranges. So that's my review of this album, and I'll see you for episode 49.